Last day of the week, you know what that means, huh? History, dinosaurs, and football. Mr. H here with you on planet Earth. It's definitely a hot one out there. It's going to be like that. Rain coming in, so hopefully that'll cool everything down. But you know what? It's a perfect excuse not to do yard work. But if you want to play football, hey, I'm out there in 102-degree heat. Doesn't bother me any. Hope you guys had a fantastic week. And since you're here with me, I'm having a great week. So, welcome, my friends, to Planet Earth. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I keep forgetting to say that in the beginning. Hey, what's your favorite Second World War airplane? Me, I like the Messerschmitt 262. I don't know why. I've always liked this thing. It's really cool. It's the first jet fighter, first combat jet fighter in history. Unfortunately, it was created by the Germans in the Second World War. First flew in 1942. When that thing finally was deployed in 1944, it wreaked a lot of havoc because, there's no such thing as an airplane without propellers at this time. A lot of people work on jet fighters, but the Germans got there first. It's a very sleek looking thing. It looks vaguely like a shark if you look at it, and it's just a vicious thing. It's got the four cannons up there in the front. You see it there? It's got the jet engines. This thing could get up to Mach 1. They claimed Mach 1.5. I don't know. It's 1944 engineering. I'm not saying it's bad, but you're asking a lot in 1944 with a jet engine that hasn't been completely proven yet and pushed out into combat a little bit early since they were, losing the war. But the ME-262 is officially known as the Swallow. They should have called this thing a Predator because you know what it liked to hunt? Yeah, other airplanes. What kind of airplanes? They like to hunt down the lumbering bombers like the B-17, right? At first, the B-17 would fly over Germany, had no fighter support since no Allied fighters could make it from Britain all the way to Germany. Didn't have the range. Later, the P-51 Mustang shows up, and then they've got air bases in France after D-Day. But yeah, this thing was just a terror. That's why I have so many weapons and so many guns on a B-17, right? Trying to hold off German fighters, and then this thing shows up. Even bad news. Need to shoot that thing off. You're going to aim anywhere, aim it for that, right? But yeah, this was a terrifying plane. It really freaked people out, and I'm going to be honest with you. It looks kind of intimidating, and this is 80 years after the war, and you still get a little bit of still a little worried about it, huh? But it's also a very popular airplane. People have actually made replicas of this thing. Yeah, they have. Right there. In fact, this is from an air show in Germany. And I've been next to an ME-262 twice. Once in the Smithsonian down in D.C. I saw it there, and I was at an air show in Germany and saw ME-262 up close. It wasn't this one. So obviously people are making, more than one copy of this thing. I like to fly it around. It's really cool. I like this camouflage pattern right here. That's really nice. It reminds me of mint chocolate chip ice cream for some reason. Yeah, maybe it's just the heat. But the ME-262 is a very popular plane. A lot of people still like this. You hang around like Second World War fanatics and history buffs, and they talk about your favorite airplane. It's either going to be the P-51 Mustang, the Japanese Zero, or right here, the ME-262 Messerschmitt Swallow. Yeah, a lot of people like it. It's even on the cover of a Blue Oyster Cult, Blue Oyster Cult album too. Yeah, I like what they did there on the tail, right? So, like I said, despite its somewhat, shall we say, dubious origins, very popular plane. And actually, Czechoslovakia, believe it or not, was the last country to use this, not Germany. Yeah, they had them flying as late as 1946. By that time, of course, technology had marched on. But never forget, ME-262, the first operational jet fighter. Hey, remember we were talking about The Last Dinosaur, that horrible movie last week? And the first animal they encountered was the quote-unquote Ceratopsian. Yeah, take a look at that. It's not a Ceratopsian, right? That's Unitherium right there. What's a Unitherium? It's a mammal, not this thing. This is a guy in a rubber suit. But Unitherium was a mammal, and the name means beast of Utah. They found these skeletons back in 1870 across the American West. Even found a few remains in China, so it must have made its way over. The Chinese specimens were younger, so we think it originated in North America. It went over the land bridge to Asia. Haven't found any fossils in Africa, Europe. Not saying they weren't there, they just didn't quite get there yet. But yeah, you take a look at the AKA Ceratopsian. Yeah, that's a Unitherium. So as you try to remember how to spell Unitherium, and it's a hard word to spell, forget that. Nah, why don't you check out my book instead? I gotta throw a plug in for my book there, Heaven's Steel. You got epic battles over there. It's too hot to go out and do anything else. Help out some indie writers like your pal Mr. HR on Lulu.com. In fact, buy 2 of them. You can support your printer with 2 of these. Plus, Mr. H gets $1, and if you buy 2, Mr. H gets $2. Maybe you can buy that ice cream he's thinking about. Back to our regular programming. So Unitherium lived in the Eocene period, 56 million years ago to 34 million years ago. Once again, North American origin, apparently, before spreading over to Asia. It's about 5.5, 6 feet tall at the shoulder, very big, 1.5 tons. And, if you look at it, it kind of looks like a rhinoceros. It kind of has that same look about it. Probably the same sort of niche it was inhabiting out on the flatlands. Don't think it really went near the water except to drink, so it's not like a hippopotamus, as some people would say. Here's a nice picture of him just hanging out there out on open prairies. There's some camels over here. Yep, they originate in North America too. Got some sort of deer. It starts with an S. I forgot to name it. Oh, it's right down here. I can't see it. And of course, being chased by some kind of cat. Yep. Not everybody go out to a Chick-fil-A and grab something to eat, right? You got to run down your food over here in the Eocene. Since it became extinct apparently around 34 million years ago, that means no human being ever saw this. Unless, of course, you went drilling into some place in the polar ice cap with that guy from last week, and there's a Ceratopsian running around along with T-Rex and some Triceratops with legs that are too long. Yeah. I don't think that's quite what it looked like. But there it is. We got ourselves the Unitherium. Yep, there's Inky in the background. She has a lot of comments about stuff like this. There's an old school picture of it from about the 70s, I think it is. So you got the knobs on the head. Got these teeth. We think clearly it's a vegetarian, a herbivore, I should say. And probably use these teeth to dig up roots and stuff like that, or maybe even pull down plants like this guy. They used to think that, like most species on this planet, the male was bigger and the female was smaller. Now, research seems to indicate it's going the other way, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. Usually when they discovered this in Utah in 1870, and they were trying to figure out what this thing looked like. They just found the skull, because that's what always gets the attention. And they didn't get it quite right the first time. Nope. And you wonder why I wouldn't get it right the first time, because you look at the skull, right, and it seems pretty obvious what it would look like. All right, so you've got the bumps up here on the head, okay? These teeth you're talking about. See these extensions down here? All right, that's clearly a counterbalance, right? So his head doesn't flop down all the way, right? And not sure what this is. For some reason, some people thought there was a trunk here. I don't know why you think there's a trunk there. Maybe because I was born sometime after 1870, but it just doesn't seem like it would have a trunk. Yeah, this is what they thought it looked like at first. Now, I don't know where they got this idea. It looks like an elephant with horns in the front, and I don't know where the elk antlers came from. Now on the other hand, it's an era, late 19th century, people drank a lot more, and there's, water coming through lead pipes. Maybe it has something to do with it. I don't know, but I have no idea how they would come up with something like this. I mean, Megalosaurus, I understand you think it's a 4-legged lizard when you first find it, but this thing, no idea where the trunk is coming from here. So back in 1870s here, you've got the horns, antlers, the elephant, short trunk there. Why? Don't know, but that's what they thought it looked like. By late 20th century, it looks like this, except smoother skin, like a rhinoceros, because it operates in the same sort of niche. And here in the 2020s, they think it's, they still got the same late 20th century appearance, but probably a little more furrier, some kind of coloration to blend in with, like, tan and green prairies, maybe to hide off from any kind of predators, though not that many. This is something new right here, the sexual dimorphism. That means they think the female was actually larger. This is something we're still debating, but they have found some bones of some rather large females, and they were mature, so I don't know. Maybe you got something there, but it gives us something to argue about, Hey, here's something you don't need to argue about. Remember how we talked about undefeated teams last week? Let's go the other way. Teams that never, who had winless seasons. Yeah, you wonder how does a professional football team fail to win a game in 1 year? Even an expansion team, you figure at least would win a game somewhere. But in the 1976 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they set the record, man, 0-14. They played 14 games back then, and they lost every single one of them. This illustrates right here the entire Tampa Bay season. This 1976, and the Raiders actually won the Super Bowl that year. The ironic thing is, in 2002, Tampa Bay will destroy Oakland in the Super Bowl. So, you never know what the future holds, right? Try to go back in time and show it over inspiration, but I don't think it's going to help. Quarterback's going down. I have no idea what this guy's doing. Is he a blocker? I don't know what you're doing over there, dude. Now, the other expansion team in 76 was the Seattle Seahawks. So you figure two expansion teams playing against each other, somebody's going to win. And it was not Tampa Bay. Now, as you can tell, 0-14. So Seattle, the other expansion team, their first victory came against the other expansion team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And there they are playing in Tampa Bay. You know it's Tampa because it's way too bright to be Seattle. Plus, they're playing a dome back then. There they are wearing white at home. You know how Mr. H can't stand that. I know it's Florida trying to beat the Heat with white jersey, but yeah, I'm not going for it. What was the score again? Yeah, you lost, so it didn't work. Now you think no one could ever, match this record, much less even break it, right? A couple teams came close. 1980, the New Orleans Saints came close, 1-15. I think the Carolina Panthers 1-15 back in 2001. So you've had some pretty bad teams. So the 76 Buccaneers 0-14. They got to be better the next year, right? Yeah, a little bit better, 2-12. They lost their first 12 games. That meant they started off. The history of this franchise began with a 26-game losing streak. Their first victory came against New Orleans Saints in New Orleans at the Superdome. Superdome's still there. They won 33-14. Nobody wants to be the first team to lose to an expansion team, especially after 26 games. But hey, New Orleans, you get that honor. And their second victory came the very next week. First victory at home. There you are, wearing your dark jersey at home like you're supposed to against the, you ready for this? St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah, the Cardinals used to be in St. Louis before they went to Arizona. So 2-12, it's better than 0-14, right? So that 0-14 mark, that's just a record you don't really want, and you figure they're going to be stuck with that forever. Have you met the Detroit Lions? Yeah, 2008 Detroit Lions. Not only did they match Tampa's record, they made it worse. 0-16. Yeah, they went to a 16-game schedule starting in 1978. So you figure, okay, somebody's going to win a game somewhere in 16 attempts, man, especially a pro team. Not the Detroit Lions, and here you are. This just wraps up their whole season. Just a quarterback running outside the end zone for a safety. He has absolutely no idea he's outside the end zone. That's not Matt Stafford, is it? I don't know. But anyway, point is that just sums up Detroit's entire 2008 season. There you are, man. I have no idea what to do either. Just keep playing a game and collect a check, and who knows, maybe you'll win something. So 0-16 is pretty bad. 0-14 is bad. 0-16 is pretty bad. No one's going to match 0-16. Say hello to the Cleveland Browns. 2016, Cleveland Browns, they go 0-16 as well. Look at this, very happy, because he knows this is the only record they're going to set in Cleveland. 0-16, they matched that. In fact, they would lose 31 straight games, breaking Tampa Bay's record of 26 straight losses. In fact, they broke their losing streak in 2018. In the 2017 opener, tying the Steelers. Yeah, they broke a 31-game losing streak by not winning a game. Yeah, welcome to Cleveland. And it gets weird, too, because in 1976, they didn't fire the Buccaneers coach, a guy named Jim McKay. They figured it was an expansion team that did get a little bit better. And in 2008, yeah, they fired a guy in Detroit. In 2016, Hugh Jackson was the coach for the Cleveland Browns. They didn't fire him after an 0-16 season. That was amazing. In 2017, halfway into the year, they're 2-5-1, and they fired him. So you don't do anything when he's 0-16, but you can fire the guy when he's 2-5-1 halfway through the year. Hey, 2-5-1 for the Browns is awesome, man. And if a tie is half a win, and you got 2 victories, that's a 250% increase. And you fired the guy. Welcome to Cleveland. Yeah, well, strangely enough, they actually made the playoffs last year. Maybe it's an upswing after, since they haven't won a Super Bowl since Unitherium was galloping around. Maybe they're finally due simply by law of averages, huh? Well, you guys have yourself a great day. You try and stay cool. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Try and grab a copy of Heaven Steel if you can. Don't forget to argue with me in the comments about all the many, many mistakes I probably made. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you next week. Das vidanya.